Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Hey, Kat, it's Kristen, and I'm here with Mary Key. Hi, Mary.
Hi, nice to be with you.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. So you have a new book that's out. Tell us all about it.
Yes, it's called Seizing Success, A Woman's Guide to Transformational Leadership. And in it, I really talk about tools and strategies for women to increase their confidence, to be more assertive, and to influence others positively, because there's some real differences between how men and women are received. And it's harder for women to be assertive and not be seen as too directive.
I think you hit the nail on the head there because, if you're feeling like, wow, I really have to assert my voice or I want to be heard, it's such a fine line. You're either too strong and you're the B word, right? Or you're
Right.
too soft and then you're just like wallpaper in the room. I mean, how do you walk that tightrope?
It's hard. One of the things in the research I've done, and also I'm the founder of the Key Women's Leadership Forum, which is a forum for executive women. So I've talked to hundreds of executive women about this issue. And interestingly, nonverbal assertiveness is not seen quite as negatively sometimes as verbal assertiveness is. So sitting straight, standing straight, taking up your space. And so many times, especially when women are not feeling great or unsure, they make themselves smaller physically. And so being able to do that, and voice pitch is part of that, even though it's verbal, the pitch of the voice, how you end a sentence, instead of ending a sentence in a strong declarative way, if you end it like with a question, like a lot of young women are doing right now, it makes them sound much less strong and much less assertive. And so some of these things are really important to keep in mind. The other part of it is that we bring many strengths to the table, like collaboration and the ability to empathize and listen, which really need to be built on so that we can be even more successful in our careers in life.
So you do a lot of work with women in corporate life. And do you feel
Yes.
like we still have a long way to go to get more women in those super top leadership roles?
Unfortunately, yes, and the pandemic has only made it worse.
Mhm.
We are now in a place where we were more than 15 years ago. We've
Wow,
lost
I
a
didn't
lot of
realize it was that
progress.
bad.
Yes, because a lot of women that were in leadership roles decided that they didn't want to deal with what was going on during the pandemic, or they, like many women, are the chief people who take care of their kids. So, you might have a partner, but, oftentimes it's the woman, even if she has the more senior career, who organizes and manages the life of what happens for the family, whereas the usually the male partner, or the partner that identifies as male, they often will do transactional things like take Johnny to soccer practice or pick up Susie at her music lesson. But they don't think about, like, when do we get our shots, and when do we do this, and when do we sign up for that?
The whole
And
big holistic thing of like
yes,
running that family, right?
yeah. In fact, Harvard did a study on that and found that about 70% of the household duties in terms of planning fall directly on the shoulders of the woman.
So Mary, where did all these women go? I mean, they left the workforce. Where are they now?
Well, some of them, a few of them, like you, Kristen, have started their own businesses, which is good. But many of them have just decided to get off the career track. So some of them have taken less stressful jobs. There's a lot of pressure if you're really operating at a senior level. And a lot of women just don't want to do it, and they feel conflicted.
So what do you think it's going to take to change this? we're always, it seems like women are always, we're always trying to break through something,
Right.
break through the glass ceiling, find our place on the stage, get our voice heard. Like, we got all these initiatives, but yet we're just not really making a lot of ground that is sticking. I mean, what do you think it's really going to take, in your opinion, as an expert in women's leadership? What do you think it's going to take?
I think it's going to be a shift in consciousness for everyone. I think for women, because that's all we can control, our own reaction.
Right.
It's to have clarity on what are our priorities really.
Mhm.
And one of the questions I know that you have planned to ask is, what's the one thing that changes everything? The one thing that changed everything for me in my career was focus. I went from trying to do a lot of things to doing a few things well, and it made a huge difference. So I think women need to really be better at setting priorities and saying no. And I also think,
No.
no,
What?
saying no.
No?
Yes,
We
no.
can say no.
Yeah, we can say no. And then,
I'm just kidding.
I do see that, things are shifting a bit in terms of how women are viewed. However, I think when women drop out of the career track, they don't make the kind of relationships they would. They might be home planning a menu instead of, and still working instead of being on the golf course. And so I think people really need to make sure that they keep their networks in a positive way fresh, and that they network with people who want to support them. And that being said, there are a lot of men and women that will support each other, but I think women need to be better at being clear about what they see for themselves. And many times we're reluctant to talk about that, or we don't even know.
Oh, I can so resonate with what you're saying. What do you have a philosophy? I mean, do you have like a mantra that you say to yourself?
Well, my life purpose really is to inspire others to grow and be their best selves. And in that, I work on my best self. So my philosophy is really about how can we maximize, how can we use the potential that we have, and how can we also enjoy our life in the moment as we do it, which is a very difficult thing, because when you're thinking about the future and your vision, it kind of takes you out of the present, but enjoying the present allows you to savor life. So the more I can hold those two things not against each other, but juxtaposed against each other, I think the more fulfilling life is for me and for people that try it.
One of the things, Mary, that I hear out there from, because I talk to a lot of different women,
I bet you
is
do.
that women at I don't want to say at the lower level, but they're at a different point in the spectrum, like either growing their corporate career, growing their entrepreneurial journey. And a lot of the women there feel like the women that have already made it don't want to mentor. They don't want to help. They kind of keep their head down and just focus on their own agendas. Do you think that's true? I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, I've heard this a couple times, so I'm just curious, because you work with a lot of really high level leaders. What do you observe?
Well, I think that happens right now for both men and women that are asked to be mentors, or to help others, because I think people many times just get busy. And I do know that there are some women and also men that have what I call a poverty consciousness. They want to hoard what they've developed themselves. They've had to do that the hard way. They're not about to share it with someone else. But there are others that really do want to help and support. I'm guessing, especially because of those cat ears, I'm a big cat lover myself, that you have a real compassion for people. And if someone said, Kristen, I would really like your help in understanding this better, or being directed to something, I'm sure that you would be willing to do that. So the other factor here is that many times women don't ask, or they maybe ask
I
the
think
wrong
that's
person.
it. I think you
Yeah.
just totally hit the bullseye on that one. I think that women, we may not always feel like it's okay to ask.
Right.
There's not the right environment, or we maybe don't have the right introduction, or, we all want the setup to be so perfect. Everything has to have that perfect setup. And we're
Yeah.
just not sure that we have the permission to ask for help or guidance or insight or even a tip,
Exactly. I know I agree 100%. And being able to ask that in a way the other person can hear, it's really important as well.
How would you recommend they do that? It's a
Well,
good way to ask.
I think if you're, you should have a relationship more or less, or at least an introduction
somebody
with the
randomly.
person. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to call it random. I mean, you could
Right.
call it random,
Hello, please help
your
me.
chances, right? But so what's a common thing that you share? I think some commonality, like, I noticed that you went to the university, whatever, or I noticed that you have been involved in, technical training for women, or something. And then so that there's something there, or I was talking to so and so, and I know that your colleagues and friends, and they're also a friend of mine, and they highly recommended that I might be able to chat with you sometime. So you want to do that in a way, and you want to do it in a way where you don't ask for a job. I really want to say that, because
Right.
for a lot of people, I have recommended, and young people too.
That's the kill switch, right?
Yeah. I say, do you know what you want to do as a career? Because so many times people just like know the basic careers, like I want to be a programmer, or I want to be a doctor, or nurse. And then they start studying the profession, they hate it. And I'm like, interview people ahead that hold those jobs, and just say, would you spend 20, 30 minutes with me talking about what you do? Thank that person, send a follow-up email or note if you're, so inclined, and make sure that you don't ask that person for anything else. And that, I think, gets people into trouble.
Absolutely.
Even asking them to be a mentor. There's a difference between asking someone for help and support on or perspective on an issue, and asking or setting up that person being a mentor. One is more of a transactional thing that could become a relationship. And of course, mentoring is a relationship. So
absolutely. And relationships take time to develop, right? They're not instant. You have to build them, right? You have to encounter each other and choose if you even want to be in relationship with each other, because there's energy and, time and all those things. So what's next for you, Mary?
Well, I'm so excited because I recently been involved in developing the Key Women's Leadership Forum. And I've partnered with a larger firm that really is going to look at taking the Women's Forum nationally and internationally. So there's some role I'll have in that. And the other part for me is really what's next. So I'm kind of at a what's next place, because my firm has actually been acquired. It was acquired recently, and so so it's I've got a clean slate, and I'm ready to create. So one of the things that I always recommend to people I coach, females and males, is that when you're going through a change, which I am, and it's funny feeling your own feelings about it, it's very, very important not to try to get closure right away. So many times we're like, okay, I have to line up what I'm going to do next. And you don't really consider all the options. And the most creativity comes as long as you can stay in that unknowing place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm coaching myself now, but that
stay in the void.
That is a bit of wisdom that I've observed others who have gone through transitions. If you're going through a transition, don't feel like you have to lock it down real fast.
Right.
Sometimes people say, Mary, I got to earn a living. Well, get some way to get money, but don't make that like, okay, I'm going to do that next, and that's my life.
Yeah, because you may have to change it again.
Exactly.
So where can we find you?
Oh, I'm on LinkedIn.
Right now.
I'm on LinkedIn, Mary Key. And then my website is Key Associates Inc., KEYASSOCIATESINC.com. And you'll see a section that has to click here if you want more information about the Seizing Success book, A Woman's Guide to Transformational Leadership. It's a good book for women at any level, particularly women who want to be in leadership roles.
Mary, thanks for being on the Big Meow.
Thank you, and meow. And I just want to say,
I know, I want to be your cat.
My first book was called The Entrepreneurial Cat, 13 Ways to Transform Your Work Life.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
Sisters from another mother.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C.A.T.S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.